Hey, how's it going, everybody? If you're new here, welcome in. And if you've been here before, well, fancy seeing you again. I'm Rollshambo, the connoisseur and collector of all things sharp and shiny. And today we're talking about a new take on last year's design from VOSTEED called the Thunderbird. And yes, this is in fact a new version of that same design. And the original version had S35 VN. This version has M390, and what you're seeing here is topographic G10 with a copper backspacer. That's not just copper anodized, by the way. That is in fact copper. We have a deep carry pocket clip with flush screws. Thank you. Thank you. Can I get an amen? And by the way, that pocket clip is reversible. We have this filler tab on the opposite side, so when you flip the clip, you don't have this awkward hole just sitting in your handle scales. And speaking of awkward holes, you'll notice that, yes, for those of you who like lanyards, there is a hidden lanyard post in the perfect place to have one. I hate it when I see a lanyard hole going through the handle scales. It messes up the aesthetics, and it also can sometimes even mess up the ergos. Speaking of the ergos on here feel pretty dang good. Now, the original Thunderbird had a blade that was a little bit longer. It was a bit bigger. We're talking about a 3.5-inch blade on the original. This one is going to come in more around 3 1/4. That makes this a really, really good EDC size. Now, the topographic G10 is great in hand because these corners are nicely milled over. There are, from what I can tell, no sharp edges on this knife, and that is a big win. We've got a choke up spot here on the top and the bottom, so you get your fingers in a very nicely controlled grip where your thumb is parallel with your index finger. You have all the control that you need. On this M390 blade, you might have noticed that is in fact a compound grind, and I love that. I also really like the fact that it has a deployment hole and a fuller that finishes out the length of the blade. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Now, the Thunderbird was a knife that I really, really wanted to check out last year. It wasn't in the cards, but it is this year, and I gotta say, it is not disappointing me at all. And some of you might be saying, you know, that's cool. I just wish that it didn't have G10 handle scales. Well, the good news for you, my friends, is that you can get these in a couple different variations. This comes in at a very good price range of $135. Finding good M390 at $135 is tough. I mean, yes, you can find some Tucsons out there that have M390, but typically you're also looking at a heat treat that maxes out somewhere around 58 HRC. Meanwhile, VOSTEED has the heat treat and the Rockwell hardness nailed on this one to 60 to 62. That is fantastic. And I really, really like the fact that they are giving us a super steel with a decent heat treat, decent Rockwell hardness at $135. But if you want, you can get this in cloud carbon fiber for about $165. Or if you want, you can get it in frag milled pattern titanium handle scales for just shy of $200. They have covered the entire $100 to $200 range, and they've given you everything that you've asked for. No wonder it seems like VOSTEED just can't miss. It seems like everything they touch eventually turns to gold. Now, I do have one thing. I would love to see this design with their new top liner lock, and that is kind of their compression lock style knife. And I love the VOSTEED Chaos with the top liner lock, and I'm really excited to see if they come out with more knives that have that mechanism this year. And I would love to see them come out with a Thunderbird that also has the top liner lock. Come on, let me know in the comments section down below if they came out with a Thunderbird with the top liner lock. Would you be game? Would you pick one up? For me, I nerd out over those things. I really enjoy it. And by the way, if you enjoy it and you've been enjoying this video and you want to watch more awesome knife content, make sure to hit the subscribe button. On this one, the question is, should you get this over other button lock knives that are out there and readily available? Well, let's go ahead and do a quick comparison, shall we? Here it is up against a very, very popular button lock knife. This is the CJRB Pyrite with the alt blade. Now, direct comparison, I will tell you that the Thunderbird is going to have a little bit of size on it. Otherwise, the carry profile is actually very similar. I would say the Thunderbird has slightly thicker handle scales, but they both have deep carry pocket clips. Now, the Pyrite is going to be quite a bit less expensive, but big difference maker here is that, for example, you get steel and AR RPM 9. On this one, you get topographic G10 and M390. Yeah, you also get a backspacer. You also get this compound grind. And when you look at the differences between these two popular button lock knives, it starts to become apparent as to why this one is more expensive. It's not just in the materials, it's also in the design language. The Pyrite is a very decent knife, but when it comes to overall design language, the Thunderbird 100% comes out on top. In fact, I am kind of sad that I didn't get to include this in my best button locks of 2023 video that I did last year, but you know what? At least we're getting a chance to check it out now. I don't have any negatives that I want to point out on here, but I do have kind of a wish list. Wish list number one, I really want to see this in their new top liner lock. I think that would be absolutely phenomenal. Wish list number two, while I don't necessarily mind the filler tab is just this regular steel colored silver, I think it would have been really cool if they had integrated the topographic G10, which looks fantastic. If they had taken that and used that topographic G10 for the filler tab cutout, that would have just been absolutely next level. Now, I have a feeling that one of the reasons why they didn't is because this topographic G10 pattern might not have fit on both sides. As you can see, that pattern is different on each side. So I kind of get it, but it would have just been next level if they had found a way to pull it off. Again, it's a wish list item. Other than that, those are the only two things I have on my wish list. If you want one with more premium handle scale materials, they're out there, and I will make sure that they are linked in the comment section down below as well as in the description, guys. So I'm ultimately very impressed. Now, something you might be wondering is, how does it index? How's the balance? Why do you do that, Rollshambo? What are you testing? I'm testing to see just how well and easy it is to handle this knife and to maneuver it. You know, sometimes we have to switch our grip. And for the record, I am not the most dexterous person in the world. I have sausage fingers. The whole reason why I started doing this little routine right here is because it helps me work on my dexterity, and it also helps me test how well balanced the knife is, how comfortable it is in the hands, and how easy it is to maneuver with it. And I got to say, this definitely indexes with the best of them. I'm a fan of the blade. I'm a fan of the company. I'm a fan of how well made it is. The only question now is, do you have one? Are you going to get one? Are you planning on it? If not, why not? Let me know in the comment section down below. As always, let's make sure to have a conversation. And by the way, guys, if you want to watch more awesome knife and EDC content, click on one of the videos that pops up next.